Welcome to the Spirit-Inspired Life. This is YOSHIE Miyakota. Hi there, it's YOSHIE, and welcome to the Spirit-Inspired Life podcast. Now, I want to start this podcast by sharing with you one of my favorite stories that I've ever read, and the story was about a man who was walking down the road and then tripped over a rock. Okay, and he was obviously not paying much attention to where he was going, but he got very mad and he blamed his fall solely on the rock. And as a result of the fall, he scraped his knees and his chin, and both of his knees and chin were bleeding. And the very next day, and as he was walking down the same road, he tripped over the same rock and scraped his knees and chin again. And he became furious and blamed the rock for being there and mounted on the ground. And he also concluded that he was a very unlucky person to have the same experience twice. And on the third day, the exact same thing happened, and he was fumed with rage and kicked the rock, and which hurt his toes badly. And on the fourth day, and he tripped once again at the exact same location. But this time it was a bit different. He didn't blame everything, his fall and pain, on the rock, but instead he started to think about the reason why the same thing happened again and again. And he then realized that it wasn't the rock's fault after all, and that he needed to pay more attention to where he was going. And on the fifth day, he went down the same road, being more cautious, but unfortunately he got distracted and tripped over the same rock again and scraped one of his knees, and only one knee this time. And on the sixth day, he went down the same road, and again, he tripped over the rock, but he didn't get hurt at all. He somehow learned to fall in a way that prevented his body from getting hurt. With this, he experienced a great sense of satisfaction and a sense of success. And he was in awe, for he never knew that he could learn to do the self-defense role, right? And on the seventh day, he went down the same road, and this time he was fully present. And he simply stopped right in front of the rock and looking at it deeply. And strangely, he felt a great sense of appreciation toward the rock, for it taught him to live in the moment and to help acquire a skill of self-defense. So he walked around the rock, and then he bowed deeply, and he left the scene smiling. Now, what happened to this man after that? Now, his newly found skill ignited a strong interest in martial art, which eventually led him to become an excellent Aikido teacher, where he taught his students his special rolling move. You know, when people experience bumps in the road, tough experiences in their lives, people tend to get discouraged and choose to conclude quickly that they are either unlucky or loser or failure. And other times people simply choose to blame others for their misfortune. And some people pick themselves up again and try, but they fall down again. And they eventually give up because they cannot stand making mistakes again and again. And through these few mistakes, many people somehow convince themselves strongly that they are a loser, or that I can't possibly do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. It's not meant to be, or it's not for me. And you hear this so often. We tend to be very creative and come up with numerous ideas as to why we can't achieve what we set out to achieve. And many people eventually succeed in convincing themselves that they lack talents or abilities. How about you? Do you do something similar? So many people tend to use so much of their creative power in coming up with excuses as to why they are not able to achieve their goals and dreams. And some choose to blame their lack of education, or others blame their partner, and some people blame their financial situation, and other people blame their health. And some people say that they don't have enough qualifications, blame their past lives or their karma. And many people have amazing goals and dreams, such as having a harmonious relationship with their partner, or having a perfect health, or having a great financial freedom, or perfect spiritual outlook in life. But so many people choose to give up so easily and say, it's not for me, or it wasn't meant to be. They quickly give up their dreams and their precious dreams that were given to them, to their spirit. And many people want to be healthy too. And I'm sure that you know that there are major health concerns in the US, and many people easily give in to prescription drugs or surgery instead of choosing to resort to healthy diets or taking care of their mind and their spirits, and believing that somehow the drugs will patch up their physical ailments, when it's widely known that 100,000 people get killed by prescription drugs each year in the US, and it doesn't even include the side effects and unreported deaths caused by them. And many people quickly choose to conclude that, I'm meant to be sick, and that I'm unlucky and I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about my health. Now, how many people are settled with status quo, and when they're experiencing great difficulties in their lives, and they're saying that it's meant to be this way? Is it really? Is it really meant to be that we stay sick or poor or depressed? There are many people who were born or raised in a challenging environment or circumstance. And yet these people never gave up and gave into difficulties and achieved greatness in life, because they kept curiosity and the courage and determination to rise above their perceived limitations. And they were able to better proportionate the size of their challenges, and using adversity as a motivating force and turning challenges into advantage rather than disadvantage, right? And one of the most courageous, inspiring individuals most of us know is Oprah Winfrey. Did you know that her mother was 13 years old when she gave birth to Oprah? And Oprah lived in extreme poverty, and she was raised by her grandmother and was sexually molested multiple times by the time she was 13 years old. And even worse, she became pregnant at the age of 13, and she gave birth to a baby, but the baby was stillborn. And so she was deeply devastated, to the point she had to be sent to a mental institution. But luckily, they didn't have enough bed for her to stay. So after a few days, she got kicked out. But the long story short, you know the rest, that she never gave up. She never gave up. Another great inspiring individual, but from the past, was Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln was one of America's greatest leaders in the past, right? And especially known for ending slavery in the US. And Lincoln was raised in a poor family, and he was mostly self-educated. He didn't blame his parents for being poor, and he didn't blame his parents' inability to send him to school. Instead, he saw much potential within himself and took initiatives to educate himself. And he had a strong ambition to make a difference in the world, despite his disadvantaged upbringing. And he certainly made a great difference in this world. And Lincoln is also known for losing 8 elections before he actually became the 16th president of the US. Despite the multiple defeats, losing 8 elections, he never gave up. And Einstein said that you never fail until you stop trying. These amazing people, but they're normal, just like you and I, they failed over and over again. And they had to deal with many challenging situations. And I'm sure that they must have experienced countless emotional as well as physical pains and obstacle after obstacle, just like all of us have, right? But they never gave up. And they chose to use their failures and mistakes as their opportunities to grow stronger. And they chose to use their failures and mistakes as motivational force. They saw their mistakes as stepping stones to success and mastery. They simply trusted the power that is within themselves, the power that is much greater than themselves. They consciously made the effort to connect with the higher power. And these incredible people, they strengthened their commitment and determination to express their greatness even more than before, and allow their light of God to flow and speak through them. And some people perceive or associate ambition with power or wanting to gain power over others, and that they're trying to prove to others that they are extraordinary. And these inspiring and courageous, ambitious, driven people have sometimes been labeled as egotistical. Mark Twain once said, "Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the real great make you feel that you too can become great." Many great spiritual teachers and philosophers have said over and over that we are a part and one with God, all that is, or the one, or great mind, or the great spirit. And when we courageously explore and understand this concept or the truth of oneness with the one, with the power, with love, it would be very difficult for us to say that we are not extraordinary. You are extraordinary. You are amazing. Because what is God? And God is the divine creative energy, the eternal source of all life, all that is, the supreme mind, the creative mind, directive intelligence behind the universe, all knowing, all prevailing, the perfect embodiment of light, joy, love, wisdom, the truth, which dwelling in everything and everyone, and forever seeking expression in infinite ways. And we are all at one with our Creator and with each other, and that we can never be separated. And so we must ask ourselves, who am I? Who are we? And do you realize you have so much power within you? You have the power to create, and you have the power to create peace, and you have the power to create total health, and you have the power to be love, and you have the power to create a sense of oneness within any community, and you have the power to create a loving environment where all our brothers and sisters can prosper. We each have so much power within us, but many of us haven't yet realized this simple truth, or are unconsciously using the power to work against us. Then if we have so much power, then why so many people are sick or broke or unhappy? Because we have to understand energy. Everything is energy, and energy has its attraction force, and our thoughts are energies, And your emotion is energy, and whether you can see it or not. And just like radio waves, they are there even though we are unable to see them with our physical eyes. And we also have a brilliant ability to focus. And with our focus, using our thoughts and emotions, we attract certain people and create events in our life. And just like an apple attracted to the ground when you let it go, we can't see the force in between there, in between the apple and the ground, but it's there, the force is there. And every tangible and intangible object has energy and frequency, and like attracts like. And what you focus on with your energy will come into your life. And some people say, I don't have enough. Then that's what you will continue to see and create. And some people said, I'm not good enough. And that's what you're going to continue to create in your life. Now we have to go back to that definition of God. Is God poor? Or is that creative mind lack or jealousy, or is it limited? When you accept that force, the creative mind or creative intelligence or God as abundant, unlimited source of prosperity and joy, and begin to place your trust and our mind there, and you start moving in a direction, in a different direction that will bring more joy and prosperity into your life. But so many of us are told it's just the way it is, or the money is evil, or it's greed. But money is just energy. It's a medium of exchange. It can be used to feed and serve our family. And this energy can be used to feed many hungry children. And this energy can be used to educate many children and many people. And is there any evil in wanting financial prosperity so that you can share it with others in need or create joy in this world? When you keep saying that money is evil or the rich people are greedy, you naturally cut the flow of financial prosperity because your energy is on disapproval or jealousy or condemnation rather than the God, which is abundant and prosperous. Do you know we are meant to be prosperous? We're meant to be joyful. And you are meant to be joyful and prosperous. And you are meant to be successful. And they are all within you, all along. They have always been there for you, deep inside within you. But our limited beliefs, the limited beliefs that we have inherited from others, are blocking the truth from penetrating into our conscious awareness. And again, is God poor and sick? Does God give up easily? Is God limited in any way, shape, or form? No. We are children of God. Every day, we have many choices. We can choose to be prosperous, or we can choose to be jealous or hateful. And you can choose to nurture that energy of hate or jealousy. Or you can choose to be joyous and peaceful. You are responsible not only for your actions, but your thoughts and your emotions. Your thoughts and emotions affect your actions, and your actions affect your environment. Now, do we choose to entertain hateful energy in our mind? Or do we choose to think a thought of peace, love, prosperity, and harmony? A choice that we make in every moment prepaves our future. And we must ask ourselves, do I want to have joyful experiences in the future? And if your answer is yes, then we must choose joyous thoughts now and feel joyous now, because how we are feeling and thinking at this very moment determine your future creation. And it has to start now. And you can take one step at a time, a small positive step, to change your life and your world in a positive way. And as quickly as you shift your mind from lack, doubts, and fears, jealousy, or hate to the energy of great creative mind, great spirit, God, the one or all that is, whatever you want to call it, that's fine, and which is harmony, peace, prosperity, and love, we cannot fail. When our mind is placed upon all that is, when our mind is focused on the great creative mind, naturally our thoughts and actions are influenced by its power. And naturally our creation is affected by its energy in a profoundly positive way. And this focus, the ambition, the link with the great spirit or the great creative mind, you can turn one kind of ego, the edging God out, some people call it, into the other kind of ego, to execute God's order. And we can bring more love and joy and prosperity and light into your world and into this entire world. Hi, this is YOSHIE. I hope you enjoyed this episode. There are 2 things I would love for you to do. And first, subscribe to this channel so you can continue to get updates every time I create a new training for you. And the second, if you'd like to awaken your spirit and unleash your spiritual gold within, I'm happy to email you the 3-part video training series to unleash your spiritual potential. And you can access the videos at yoshiemiyakoda.com. That's YOSHIEMIAKODA.com. And it's the exact same simple training that I use to stay calm, stay focused, and better connect with spirit within. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until I see you next time, open your heart and be courageous and live out your divine purpose today.